I'm Scott Fishman.
I'm John Dwoskin.
And this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Fish, what's going on? Good morning.
Good morning to you, my friend.
I'm excited for today's episode as, we're almost done with 2018 and just really grateful and appreciative for, doing this every week with you and for our listeners and the constant feedback we're getting.
Yeah, for sure. The community has really spoken up lately and we're really liking it. The challenge of having people hit their goal by the 21st, I mean, that was big. I got a lot of people came to me and thanked me for that. That was a good episode. And, as we're recording this, it's the 22nd. So I figure, I might as well, kind of eat my dog food here and kind of fill you in on where I was on my goals.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit my goal by the 21st. And I started a new position. So I had kind of a baby goal. I hit my goal by the 7th, my official goal. So I knocked that out of the park. But what I did is I actually set myself a stretch goal because I want to get ahead of the game. I'm not a guy that just wants to hit goal and stop. So literally it took me until yesterday at 5 p.m. to hit my stretch goal, but I had to do it so I can come on the podcast today and tell everybody I hit my goal in the time allotted. So now
I love it.
It is time to spend the rest of the month kind of working on the business instead of in the business and putting plans together for the coming year, working with my partners to put plans together for them for the coming year, and just so we could hit the ground running on the 1st when that treadmill is going to be turned up to 11 when you hop on it. So we want to make sure that we're ready for it. We got our shoes tied as tight as we can get them.
Yeah, no. Well done, Fish. Congratulations. I'll report out on my two. Just a quick gist. I also, all the goals that I set and, I also hit. And to me, doing that episode was also an extra reminder and put more accountability on me, not only to come back onto this podcast, but also for you, which I think is key. And so I drove pretty hard and I'm glad I did. I did.
Folks, we remind you a lot. We talk about it, and I've talked about it on my books that we're in the trenches on a daily basis. We're not some guy sitting up on high saying, you need to do this, do as I say, not as I do. So a lot of times when we're talking about things, it's just reminders for ourselves to actually get off our asses and get shit done.
Exactly. Right. Those that can't do, teach.
Yes.
So, and the best way, I love that quote. I think it's hilarious, but, because I think we can teach and we can do, all joking aside. But I think that when you teach something, it just enforces what, not only what you know, but also what you really need to do.
John, I just came up with a t-shirt idea. Nobody steal this out in the audience.
What is it?
It'll say on the front, those who can't do, teach.
Yeah.
Back, those who can do, coach.
Oh, I like it. All right.
Judging by the look on your face, I don't know how much you like it.
I like it. I don't love it. I like it, though. I like it. I do like it. I do like it.
Good. So, folks, we got a good show today. I came up with this one, and we've talked a lot about just listening to our prospects, our clients, our customers.
What did you say?
Listening. Yeah, listening.
I'm joking.
I get it. That is funny. I like it. No, really. I don't love it.
It's a comedy hour.
Yeah, no shit. No, but we talk about actually listening to the people we're talking to and having good conversations. And I was walking the sales floor a little bit over the last week or two because I used to work a lot remotely and now I'm in the office. So now I'm not only in the trenches, but I'm on the battlefield on a daily basis. And I noticed some things that I was hearing that just you can tell that people are like, I don't know if they're speaking spells, but like maybe pull string and words come out of their mouth. It's like they're just regurgitating things.
Wait, tell people, some of our audience may not know what a speaking spell is and even like the pull string.
Okay, so when we were kids, there was toys. Literally, you could like maybe Howdy Doody. Now I'll get to tell who Howdy Doody is, but like could have been Mickey Mouse. You would pull the string, and it would say like, oh, it'd say some.
Right. You are the greatest.
Exactly. Right. And so I guess now it's like a soundboard that kids would use. So basically these kids are just soundboards on the phone. I'm listening to them and I'm wondering what's going on the other side of the conversation. And what made me think about this is with what I'm doing now, it's more of a B2B sale instead of a B2C sale. And there's some objections that we get on a regular basis that are almost interchangeable. And if you're not listening right, you're going to attack it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So basically you're going to give that old Tommy boy, you can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up a butcher's ass comment instead of actually addressing the concern that's been relayed to you. So I want to make sure that we, as salespeople, we are actually listening to what our prospects are saying and having a conversation and not just merely regurgitating. They said something about, my wife and I are going to dinner. And then they're like, we have a spouse policy here. And then they're actually attacking an objection about a spouse when they just said they were taking their wife to dinner just because they heard the word wife. So we have to listen. We have to actually, it can't just be us dumping information on folks. I want to make sure that we're actually having a convo.
I just want to comment on that because I see the same thing sometimes. I used to work with a sales guy many years ago, and he was very he would do step 1, he would do step 2, and do step 3. And I always used to say to him, and this is universal too, you got to kind of just really not only listen, but intuitively listen to what the next question is, not what the script says. Or what the books, or what you read in the book said was the right order. There is no exact order, no matter how much you practice. You got to really go with the flow and talk and listen and ask questions that get below the surface, not just sell.
Right. Yeah. I like that. They say, I don't know who they are, but there's a saying, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
you have to expect that when you're in a sales call. You have to expect that you might not be getting punched in the face, but it might be a gentle slap. You definitely, you can't just predict how a call is going to go or a meeting's going to go, because if you could, they don't need you. Right. We could just send a pamphlet and say sign the contract. Right. So we have to earn our stripes here, and by actually having a conversation, listening to what they have to say, responding relevantly, and taking the conversation in a direction that's going to allow you to give features, benefits, and solve problems. You need to do that in order to win, for sure.
I love that. Let's use the example of I'm going with my wife to dinner. Right. Yeah. So instead of selling then the spouse, plan, sometimes I do this when I'm working with sales teams is I'll say, let's play a game, and everybody goes around in the circle and I say, what's the next question? It's a really difficult exercise because, the person before you may not have asked the right question. So you got to kind of have to really, think hard.
Right.
And so, it's a good exercise for those of you who are sales leaders on this call to do. But the next question may be like, where do you like to go to eat? What types of foods do you like? Kind of stay on course. Evolve the discussion. And so, is it, do you have a weekly date night? What is it? What do you guys typically like to connect on? By the way, here's something you may want to discuss next time, if you have an open space, and you need 2 minutes of fill time to talk about something.
Right.
Let it fall into the conversation instead of just punching somebody. I love your comment. Instead of punching somebody in the face with it.
Right. And think about this also on the flip side. You have that conversation. John, you're having dinner with your wife. Where are you guys going?
Yeah.
Olive Garden? Okay, great. You write that down, and then maybe a week from now or a couple weeks from now, you're about to close a sale, or you just closed a sale, and an Olive Garden gift card shows up to their house.
Correct.
Or their office. And it's like, hey, I was just thinking about you. Thank you so much for doing business with me, or thank you for not doing business with me and speaking with me. Hopefully we could do business in the future. Here's $20 for those unlimited breadsticks. Right.
That's huge. That right there is absolutely huge. And that is, that should be just natural that you want to do something like that. I always like to do that. I actually just did that for a client who actually referred me a client, and I didn't know what to get them as a thank you. And I ran into this client and his wife, and we were randomly talking about their favorite restaurants in Detroit. And so they were talking about their absolute favorite restaurant. And so that's what I sent them as a thank you, a gift certificate as a thank you to their favorite restaurant in Detroit.
That's amazing.
But what I want to just point out is I think sometimes people think like, okay, they referred me a deal, this and the other, I have to send something immediately. But you got to sometimes take a little bit of due diligence and a little bit of time, even and find out something that really kind of resonates with them. And that is just going back to our topic today about asking questions and really listening to what makes them, what makes them tick.
John, I just thought of something. Our very first episode was titled "Shut the Blank Up and Listen."
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. We should play that one. We should redo that one. I wonder how it sounds. I'd love it. I haven't gone back and listened to a lot of those episodes.
Right. So we really should. I actually post them on social media like from time to time. Like, hey,
no, I know I see those. Yeah.
But I don't listen to them that often. That's a good call. So back to kind of what I was seeing on the floor is these people were having conversations and I could hear people responding to objections that they heard as objections. And in my head, I'm like, I wonder what's really happening on the other side of the call. And I think a challenge to sales leaders, you were speaking to sales leaders as well. A challenge to sales leaders is actually, instead of just listening to one side, make sure if you have the ability to listen in on your sales calls of your people, listen in and actually figure out if they're saying the right things, because they might be sounding really good with the way they're responding to whatever they're responding to, but they might not be responding to the right thing.
Yeah.
And we need to teach people to actually, speak with confidence, but also just, again, having conversations and not making it all about the sale.
Yeah.
Is where you're going to win, because your competition, you got to assume that they're trying to be good, but they are going to be more about just trying to get the business. Be empathetic, be sympathetic, and sell from the heart a little bit and get
Absolutely.
to know your prospects. It's important.
So important. I love about from the heart comment. That's so true. Let's give our listeners some tools to get them to just kind of pause a little bit so they can put some of this into action. And so just to kind of get that started, I just want to remind everybody that you really do have up to 3 seconds to respond to someone. I find a lot of times when I'm on sales floors that salespeople are sometimes answering the question or asking the next question or like moving the conversation too quickly because they're not thinking about what the person even said. They're just like we talked about earlier, they're just jumping in with the next thing versus really letting it kind of sift through them and think about it for a second. So if somebody asks you a question, you do have 3 seconds where it's not uncomfortable to kind of let it process and then think of what is the next question? What is the next comment? What is the next thought? And then also another tool is really if you're in sales and you want to grow your business in 2019 and beyond, you really need to commit to role playing, and you need to commit to the practice of growing your sales skills. Reading books and listening to podcasts like this and others are critical, but really kind of putting that into motion and committing to, whether it's 30 minutes a day, 20 or 30 minutes a week, an hour a week, to really role playing with people who can challenge you and make you better.
Yeah. And also, if to that note, when you're role playing with someone, tell them to challenge you, and also be challenging when you are on the other side of the role play, because again, we talk about everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face. I always like, John, if you and I were role playing, literally the very first thing I would say is, John, you sound like you really know what you're doing, but the last rep I talked to was a male and he really upset me. I need a female rep. Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
And people never know how to respond to that. And it's like, now they're like, holy shit, I got to regroup. And they got punched in the face. So
right.
Then they have to respond to that before they do anything. And it just totally pattern interrupts them because they're just expecting me to say, yeah, what can I do for you?
Right.
And I just interrupt them and just crush them right off the bat. And it's not even a bad or a hard objection. It's just you're not expecting it.
Well, that's the key. And so if you don't practice stuff like that, then you're practicing on the field, and that is the worst time to practice.
Exactly.
So you gotta back up and you gotta practice. And I just want to say this too, because I think a lot of times salespeople will say, well, I don't have time to role play. I'm just so busy. But if you think about it, if you role played, let's just say 30 minutes a week, right? That's 2 hours a month. If you times that by just a 10-month year based on vacations, et cetera, that's 20 hours. In those 20 hours, if you look at your business and think, if I role played 20 hours and build my skill set and accelerated my skill set based on role playing with people who know more than me, that I can get good talking points, tools, and questions, and be able to overcome objections like Fish just said, then in that 20 hours of practice, can I generate more business? The answer is probably going to be yes. You'll be able to convert more, significantly more. You'll be able to generate more. You'll be able to get more referrals. You'll be able to give clients a better experience instead of just giving them service. And so there is so much benefit to it. I'm really going to ask everybody and challenge everybody to role play on a consistent basis, because it will absolutely grow your game and put more money in your pocket.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you're right. So many people that come up with every excuse not to role play.
Right. Well, it's uncomfortable, but it's horrible. Yeah.
Well, how about this? I see people, again, walking the sales floor. I see people walking around on the phones with these great wireless headsets that we all have.
Yeah.
And, they're out there and you can hear exactly what they're saying. And then I see other people like hunkered down at their desk. Like you can't hear a word that they're saying as they're talking to people. And it's like, you know what? Those people are hiding. They're the ones that don't want to role play. They're the ones that are going to continue to mess up because they're not asking for help. Be loud, be proud, be on the floor, selling. Don't just, try to hide and say, oh, wow, if people hear me, I don't know what they're going to say. I'm going to be a little embarrassed. You're in sales. You're supposed to be out there.
Right. I just want to highlight one thing you just said, because I think it is a great comment, and probably a great comment to almost end this podcast on, unless you had some more things to comment on. Ask for help. There is nothing worse than somebody who is afraid to ask for help. We all need help, right? I asked Fish for help. I mean, if I had a book that's coming out next fall, and I created this cover, and I loved it, and I thought, done and done. Went to dinner with Fish and the boys. Showed Fish. Fish said, hate it.
That's a little harsh.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, you said blah 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 blah. Showed another AC. Didn't like it. You guys gave me advice. Changed my whole book cover, and it's been but sometimes I can speak for myself. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to ask for help, but I do. I push it. I try to build my muscle and always put myself out there to ask for help, even though it's uncomfortable sometimes. But we have to ask for help in order to grow. And if it's uncomfortable, you got to push yourself, because that is how you're going to grow in 2019. That one comment right there to me is it is quintessential to growth. And to all you leaders out there, you need to make sure that you're approachable and accessible, so your people feel comfortable asking you for help.
Right. Coming from, leadership standpoint, one thing I've noticed, it's always just blows my mind, is the people that are doing well that ask for the help. Mm-hmm. It's like the top 25% that are always asking, what can I do better? How can I improve? And it's harder to find things that they can improve on, right? Yeah. And it's the other ones that you offer help, you try to do things and they're like, oh no, I'm good. I got this, and they just hide. Yeah. They find every excuse. You schedule a coaching session, and that's the one time they happen to actually be on a freaking phone call is right when you're supposed to do their coaching session. Go figure. Yeah. So there's definitely, I think you're absolutely right, John. It is important to ask for help. For leaders, be accessible so you can help your people, because the better they do, the better you do. Yeah. We can all do better.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen to that. We can all do better in 2019.
Yes, we could all do better in 2019.
Sorry, my headset fell out. We can all do better in 2019. It's going to be an incredible year. 2018 has been a great year. And Fish, thank you for everything. It's been a blast as always. And I'm excited. And thank you to the 7 Minute Sales community for listening in. It's been great. And we look forward to bringing you lots more episodes in 2019.
You got it. John, thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your holidays, and we will see you soon.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period, the end.
What he said.